kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Welcome to the Racers Elite Cup Series, sponsored by Premier Racing Setups. I'm your host, Dave Regal, and I'm here to bring you all of the action from tonight's race, alongside my good friend, Mr. Alan Bergen, who's making a cameo appearance in the broadcast booth tonight. We've got a great lineup of drivers competing for the championship, and I can't wait to see who comes out on top. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor and our partner here at Sim Racing Media, Premier Racing Setups. Premier Racing Setups is the leading provider of custom sim racing setups, and they're committed to helping sim racers of all levels improve their performance. If you're looking for a way to take your sim racing to the next level, I highly recommend checking out Premier Racing Setups. They have a wide variety of setups to choose from, and their team of experts is always on hand to help you find the perfect setup for your needs. So without further ado, let's settle in from the green flag to the checkered flag right here on Sim Racing Media. And Alan, we are just 2 races away, including tonight, from our playoffs beginning here, as that top 12 is going to be unleashed here in just a few weeks.
Yeah, look, I would be in the field tonight, but I want to hang out with you tonight, so And Dover is a tough track for me, but I'm glad to be up here in the booth. And I'm sitting 25th in points, so there's no path for me to get to the top 12. So.
No, I don't think sitting 25th in points is high, wide, and handsome, as you would say. But tonight, coming into this race, Matt Schlosser in the 400, he's got full control of the points lead right now, but just 6 above Dennis Kane in the 4 car, as he's only 6 points behind our leader. Alex Teft then, of course, is just behind Dennis Kane in 3rd. Diego Rodriguez runs in 4th, and Andrew Teft runs 5th. Kensley Smith, Lee Campbell, Kirby Wayne Scott, Curtis Ecker, Brandon Zimmerman, Paul Shaw, and Truth Hoke make up the drivers that, if the regular season were to end today, would make it into the playoffs. Now, of course, Marshall Harris has a chance, if he can pick up a win, to lock himself into the playoffs, and he would, of course, leapfrog, Truth Hoke. So there's a lot of things at play here tonight, especially as some of these drivers are, gunning for those playoffs and, of course, that coveted championship trophy.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the thing, it's going to be a fun night. We're at Dover. The track's very technical. It's a concrete 1 mile oval, and it's like if Bristol was about a half mile bigger, this is what you'd get.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Dover Motor Speedway is one of the places that I love to come to. Of course, it's kind of a home track for me, just about a 2-hour ride. I'm literally right between Pocono and Dover here, just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I've been to Dover. It's a really cool place to be. Excellent atmosphere. I mean, it is literally like a carnival there here. And literally in the foreground of your monitor, there are tents and things and all kinds of stuff floating around that you can go to and check out here at the racetrack. And Dover is an impressive track. You don't think that 1 mile sounds very big until you're sitting there in the stands just below the press box and you realize, oh my, that's a long way from this side of the racetrack to the other.
Yeah. Also, back in the day, it was named Dover Downs. There used to be a horse track there.
Yeah, and you can see the outline of the horse track right here in the middle, pretty much where those campers are lined up with those white hash marks for the parking spots. That was the old paddock right in the middle, and of course, the horse track was around the outside of that. The garage area was once upon a time barns. There's all kinds of interesting stuff, and then, of course, Bally's Casino right here in the middle of your screen, and just off to the right. So go and spend your money in Dover, I guess is the name of the game. Nothing like going to Delaware to lose some money. Or a presidential election, you never know. Couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. That's the last time I'll even mention it, even though we are here in the first state to ratify the United States Constitution, Delaware. It's funny, the Constitution was written and of course proposed here in Pennsylvania, and somehow Delaware got to the front of the line first. I guess somebody was taking a nap that day.
Wow. But hey, nonetheless, we're going to have fun tonight. And, the other thing too, Dave, is it's what they call a drop off when you come down in the corner. And it's like a slight elevation, almost like an elevation change.
Yeah, and that elevation change is really interesting, especially when you come out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. I've watched a lot of drivers. It's literally a hump. We saw some of it with Brendan Wilcox and Andrew Teft during their qualifying efforts, and they sit on the front row, so they figured out how to get through that transition. The first time I ever saw it, I never realized it on TV until I was standing right alongside the fence here on the front stretch to your left. And as I saw them coming out of 4, you could see the suspensions on the Nextgen cars floating in the air. I mean, all 4 tires still maintain contact with the concrete, but I mean, you could really see those springs having to hold on for dear life to keep those cars on the racing surface. But as I had mentioned, Brendan Wilcox and Andrew Teft, they're going to be on the front row. Looks like Dennis Kane, another playoff driver, he's back in 10th position, as well as the driver of the number 10, Kirby Wayne Scott. He's going to be starting in 11th. Troy Thomas, Brandon Zimmerman, and Curtis Ecker all opting not to run qualifying laps here at Dover. So it's going to be an interesting night, as of course we also want to tip our cap to Gurr Sports, which you can see there in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Make sure that you use that QR code to navigate over to Gurr Sports. We thank them for their partnership as well all season long here in the Racers Elite Cup Series right here on Sim Racing Media. And as I had mentioned, I'm Dave Riegel, and he is Alan Bergen, making a quick stop here before he's got to head out in a little while. And, Alan, you and I have done a lot of working together here of late.
We have. But you know what? Whenever me and you get together, it's almost like two buddies hanging out at the local coffee shop and taking jabs at each other sometimes.
It's fairly accurate. I'll give you that one. I will give you that one all day long, pal. As we're going to take a quick look here at our starting grid as drivers are going to be hopping into their machines momentarily. Brendan Wilcox and Andrew Teft going to sit on the front row. They're going to be followed by Truth Hoke and Lee Campbell in row number 2. Paul Shaw and Shay Cox going to be in row number 3. Let's see if I can get a better camera shot. No, not really. How about we try this one? Okay. Shay Cox is going to be on the outside of row number 3, while Alex Teft, our playoff driver, has the number 43 Dollar Tree Toyota Camry on the inside of row number 4 alongside of Ed Yergin. Marshall Harris and Dennis Kane holding things together here in row number 5, and that is your starting top 10, while Kirby Wainscott has the finger-licking good number 10 Chevrolet Camaro alongside of Chris Blasi here in row number 6. Row 7 going to feature Aaron Marquis and James Malloy, as William Skinner going to be on the outside of row number 8. Brandon Honeycutt is going to hold things down here in row number 9 alongside of Troy Thomas, while Curtis Ecker and Brandon Zimmerman going to bring up the rear of the field here, as it appears that Ecker will be starting shotgun on the field as Brandon Zimmerman may be making an attempt to start from pit road. So right now, as it stands, 19 drivers ready to take the green flag tonight here, and we thank all of them for getting themselves all ready to rock and roll. Our pole sitter, as I had mentioned, is Brandon Wilcox right here in the 26 machine. He's going to be right alongside of Hope Valley, Rhode Island's Andrew Teft, our chief cook and bottle washer here in the Racers Elite Cup Series, and these drivers have been waiting all week to get the command to rock and roll.
You know what? I'm ready, and I don't know about you, but we're going to be on the north side of crazy when we get this thing going here.
We sure are. As the iRacing.com pace car going to bring us down the backstretch. Everybody 2x2 getting themselves ready. Check those gloves one more time. Flip the visor down because the sun is beating on us hard today. We can see that right now it's 78 degrees in the stands, but that concrete temperature is 116 degrees under partly cloudy skies. With the lights off, that means that we'll be going green flag racing here any moment as Brendan Wilcox follows the iRacing.com pace car that gets ready to make the hard left turn down pit road as we work our way into turn number 3. And I'll tell you what, you know how we do it here on Thursday nights. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some Dryden Geico and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime!
That is so awesome. 160 laps, Andrew Tuff, running second. Brendan Wilcox out to the early lead here as they bring these guys around for the first lap, and we're going to stay nice and clean.
A good, clean opening lap, as you had mentioned. Excellent observation there. As you're going to see those playoff drivers that are locked in right now. If the season were to end today, this would be our top 12 going to the playoffs. Andrew Teft right now, our lead playoff driver, but Brendan Wilcox looking to play the spoiler tonight as we work here on lap number 2. Now, of course, pit strategy going to be a big deal tonight. Why don't you take us through that a little bit, Alan? And whoa, hey, easy there, big fella. Somebody down here way out of shape, and I think that was I thought it was the 92, and it is, of Ed Yergin in his Chevrolet Camaro. Brendan Wilcox just laid fast time down as these drivers are trying to find their way to single file, because side-by-side here in these Cup cars is darn near suicide at a place like Dover Motor Speedway.
It is. If you're not going fast enough, you're going to be in the way. So right now,
just having a moment here. Let's see what happened with Alex Teft as we're going to go back and see what happened. He was just to the inside of the 92, got loose, and wow. Lucky day where he just rubbed that wall and nearly came up, my goodness, there into the Wing Creek Event Center machine. That's the 25 of Paul Shaw.
So the pit strategy today is 75% fuel load with 5 tire sets in the pits. So I would be looking probably around 2-stop race, maybe 3.
Yeah, they're probably going to try to stretch this as far as it'll go. Brendan Wilcox laid fast time again and then was beat out by Marshall Harris here in the 21 machine. Marshall Harris with a 23.88 runs the fastest lap. As we're going to flip that over here on the left side of your screen. Of course, now I say that and I can't find it. There it is. Here are your best times being logged right now as Marshall Harris runs 23.88 seconds. Just about everybody starting to see those tire temperatures come up. That increases the grip in the rubber, and of course that will start to drop the speed or drop the time down and the speed goes up.
Yeah, the time, the speeds are definitely going to go up. And as we're looking at Colonel Kirby Wainscott there, and I think now we're on the front bumper of Lee Campbell, and you got to be careful, Dave. That wall will come out and bite you. As this is a self-cleaning racetrack.
Yeah, of course, right now it appears, as I try to get this all back together, there it goes. As we look at Lee Campbell, who just allowed the 21 of Marshall Harris and Shea Cox to slide on by, looks like maybe he's just trying to settle himself in and get ready for the long run, because these drivers, as you and I have mentioned time and time again, I mean, what a safe league. I mean, we see a lot of that going on here on the iRacing.com servers, and you think to yourself, it's a virtual car, beat the heck out of it. But it becomes frustrating to the people around you when we've got cautions and things like that coming out. And these drivers in this league pride themselves on being safe. As we take a look here at Paul Shaw here in the 25, just ahead of Troy Thomas. A lot of battles here on the racetrack, and Troy Thomas we're going to go on board with. And we see him trying to draw in closer to Paul Shaw. And Paul Shaw using a little bit of a higher line here while Thomas is trying to take the low side. It takes a little bit longer for Thomas to get back into the throttle so that the 8 car doesn't get loose coming on exit. But he's still trying to draw himself ever closer here to the rear of the 25.
Yeah, and Troy Thomas also battling kidney stones too, so that's going to be an added thing that he's going to have to overcome.
I got to be honest, I've never had kidney stones. And
it hurts.
I've been told. And it looks horrifying. Brandon Honeycutt working over James Malloy right now as he's just trying to draw in. He swings to the high side. He peeks to the low side and then goes right behind Malloy. And now he goes high again. It's almost as if Honeycutt is just a little tight on entry.
Almost. And it looks like we got a car to the extreme inside. It looks like the Bass Pro Shops car. I don't know who that is. I can't tell. Right now,
I believe that to be Aaron
Marquis.
Marquis. It is Marquis.
Okay, Aaron Marquis. I want to point out Truce Hoke there, right in second position, just on the north side of Andrew Tuft, and that 55 car. He's been battling some adversity as well, as he's had some health issues. He's starting to be on the backside of. Right now, as it stands, Truce Hook is being chased down by Andrew Tuft, and well, get ready because it's going to get to be a hot battle here. It looks like James Malloy has had an incident, but no harm, no foul. We stay mean and green. As right now, you're seeing that battle between Truce Hook and Andrew Tuft get a little bit crazier. Truce Hook in the double nickel and Tuft in the 98 car.
Yeah, Andrew Tuft out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island. He is the chief cook and bottle washer here in the Racers Elite Cup Series. We want to thank him for everything that he does throughout the season. And there's the right button. As it looks like James Malloy just registered a crash here, so he's having a rough night there at the rear of the field. But Andrew Tuft, I mean, he puts on a heck of a league. These drivers all year long, are out here duking it out. And here we are with just 2 races left before the start of the playoffs. And Andrew Tuft is right there in the thick of it, both the 98 and the 43 of his brother, Alex Tuft, here in the Dollar Tree machine. Hopefully he didn't get that car at the Dollar Tree, but if he did, well, let's suffice it to say that somebody who's working the 12 steps probably sold it to him.
My wife goes to the Dollar Tree all the time.
Yeah, that's where she found you for $1.25.
Hey, I'm the discount husband, okay?
Yeah, we know. And, you know, for those of us here at Sim Racing Media, we do appreciate everything that Alan does on the backside. I mean, maybe your wife likes what you do on the backside. I don't know. But, you know, the thing is, you know, Alan, we got him for a bargain, but, man, is he one of the most important cogs in this machine here at Sim Racing Media, and we couldn't do this without him, that's for sure. So, buddy, I appreciate you. I know we got to spend a lot of time together on Saturday, about 8 hours together, and I can't believe neither of us threw ourselves out of a window.
I don't have a window to throw myself out of.
No, it's fair.
But hey, look, if there's ever a tornado, though, I can still be on the air.
That's fine. You just hunker down and call a race. As we watch the 14 of Lee Campbell blow the doors off of Marshall Harris, who just kissed the wall and gave a little peck on the cheek, as that slowed him up just enough to allow the 14 to slide on by. Now Brandon Sanfilippo, as we go on board here with the 12 machine, he's starting to try to make lunch meat out of the 21. And as we see him drawing ever closer, we're starting. Here comes that transition, a little bumpy. And there they come across the start-finish line. Now Brandon Sanfilippo looks here to the inside of the 21, and all kinds of tighter than a snare drum is the 21 stuck up there on the high side.
I love it. Hey, look, it's a lot less nerve-wracking in the broadcast booth as it is on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I was a terrible racer, but, you know, somehow made it okay in this business. Speaking of which, of course, everybody can tune in on August 25th, as yours truly will be returning to the racetrack as a competitor for reasons I'm not quite sure of. In the Coke 0400 on Sunday Night NASCAR, live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Sim Racing Media. And, of course, I'll be taking one of my car numbers back, hopefully. I'm not sure which one's available, whether it's the 21 or the 8.
I hope it's I would hope that Alexander Gangler would give you the 8. But,
Gangler's
I mean, he's
not gonna
done that
give
number
me-
well.
You know what? I didn't have enough time in the 8. It was the number that I coveted for so long because, well, let's face it, folks. It's the number of the great Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champion, pride of Henrietta, Oklahoma, Troy Aikman. Troy Kenneth sported the number 8 from his time at UCLA all the way through his retirement from the Dallas Cowboys. And quite frankly, it's my favorite number. Have at it. Go ahead, folks. Chew me up over who my favorite football player is. I'll wait.
I mean, there ain't no disputing that. He's the GOAT, for sure.
At least in Dallas. Certainly not the GOAT anywhere else.
25 laps in, and you're looking at Shay Cox.
I beg your pardon?
Shay Cox.
I didn't know what I was looking at. All I heard was the last name. Here the 007 looking back now to the battle raging behind him between the 14 and the 92 of Ed Jurgen. These drivers here, listen, they're going to be going at it like cats and dogs in a few moments here as we roll out of turn 2 and down the back chute. What a cool little bridge, too, by the way, if you need to access the interior of the racetrack during the race. Now, at some racetracks, there's a tunnel that'll walk you from, you know, the grandstand to the infield, and here it's a bridge, and that's kind of cool.
I do like the crossover bridges. Now, my local short track, though, which happens to be dirt, I am the one that's dumb enough to cross the racetrack after the water truck has been by and almost slipping in the mud, which makes me the show.
Well, nobody said there was an IQ test to work for Sim Racing Media. So it appears that Brandon Zimmerman has negated his start, and this is just an interesting little development, has decided not to run one single lap. So Zimmerman in the 65 doesn't take the start as he sits in 10th place right now in our point standings, at least at the beginning of this race. One of these days, I'd like Timing and Scoring to be able to do live updates.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That makes him the winner of the race to the beer stand.
Well, maybe he didn't even listen. Here's an interesting fact. If you go to Dover Motor Speedway and you need to, and you're thirsty and you're parched, a beer costs $5.
Yes.
A lemonade costs $7.50. So if you drink a beer, you've now saved yourself $2.50. So
And
for
so in
every
other
2
words-
beers that you drink, you get a beer for free, basically, if your choices were lemonade or beer.
So in other words, if you're under 21, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I just said a swear word.
I won't tell if you don't. Dennis Kane here in the 4 now looks to the inside of Ed Jurgen as Jurgen peeks underneath the bridge, and now they haul it down the back chute. Dennis Kane having to muscle his way past Jurgen, and Jurgen putting up a heck of a fight to hold him back there in 9th position. This battle is probably going to wind up raging for quite some time here. As never mind,
got
just
a car in
kidding.
the wall.
Debris all over the racetrack, but we say green flag racing. Let's take a run back and see that disaster because, my God, that was downright ugly. Let's take a look right here, folks, as we can see just what happened. Coming out, the rear end of the Ford just kept a spinning, and that was the end.
Too much sauce.
A little bit, so that's going to bring Dennis Kane down pit road way early and also affect some of his playoff strategy as he's going to have to come down now in 15th position. But leading by 1.3 seconds even right now is Brendan Wilcox in the 26 machine. He's just ahead of the double nickel by now, 1.25 seconds, and Truth Oak is starting to close the gap now on lap number 34.
You know, I think this is a night that Truth Oak puts one together and gets a win here. Because he's running smooth, and he's got a lot of practice here. And I think he had this race circled on his calendar for a while.
Well, it says here, so Rowan Lloyd is cheering on the 55 to victory tonight. Of course, that's Truth Hoke running right now in P2. The big dog Shane Lake says the work mistress is here. Of course, my work wife is Mr. Matt Metler. Of course, you can tune in with us on a Sunday night for SNN. I won't be on the air on this coming Sunday night. I'll be on assignment down in the land of Dixie, if you will. Dixie. Let's make sure that we emphasize the E at the end. But the booth door is not locked, Shane, so you're more than welcome to poke your head on in here as Miles the Monster feasted on the 4, as Shane says. And buddy, I'm telling you right now, Alan, this race is far from over here, even though we're just about a quarter of the way through, lap number 37 in the books. Brendan Wilcox leads the way. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media and hear from our good friends over at the Premier Racing Setup Shop.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Dover Motor Speedway, where Brendan Cox leads the way now by 1.6 seconds and then some over Truth Hoke here on lap number 41. We're a quarter of the way through this race, and joining us now in the broadcast booth is my work mistress, Mr. Shane Lake, the big dog. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, boys? You had a good one here at Dover so far, but I tell you right now, I feel for Dennis Kane in that 4 because Miles just decided to have himself a late night snack with that 4 car.
Yeah, I don't even think Miles bothered to put the hairnet on before he served him that wall.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like eating some concrete.
See, now that can go so many different ways. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Kirby Wainscott here is finger-licking good here in 9th position right now as he trails Alex Teft by less than 0.2 of a second. Teft here in the 43 trying to hold him off, and it looks like Wainscott is taking that little bit of a higher lane. Of course, it's not fully rubbered in yet. Whoa! As he has the rear end step out from behind him and keeps it under control. That's something that we've seen all night long, Shane. I mean, you know, coming out of that transition from 2 onto the backstretch and 4 onto the front stretch, you know, that transition, it's almost like a dip that comes up onto normal level.
Yeah, this track is easily one of the most roller coaster style tracks NASCAR goes to because you can definitely launch the rear end coming out of these corners, and you really got to be able to feather the throttle to keep this thing underneath you to get any speed around here.
Well, and Alan, you've seen that a few times tonight. I mean, you know, we've watched a lot of people on that transition as they come out of turn 4 and onto the front stretch, where that weight transfer is just enough to take the grip out of those tires.
Yeah, it makes the back end of the car light, so you really got to be gentle on the throttle when you come off the turn. And you know, to your point, you know, the one thing I like about this track is it's a self-cleaning racetrack.
Well, it's a self-cleaning racetrack thanks to the miracle of iRacing. Look, just click a button, make it go.
Well, as long as I've known this track, it's been self-cleaning, whether it's been concrete or pavement, but I don't want to date myself too far, but I remember watching Rusty race this in midnight when it was a Pontiac.
If you date yourself, is that like inbreeding?
This ain't no Alabama BS.
I mean, I'm just trying to ask the question because I'm not sure where we're going with this one because you want to date yourself. You know, people talk about some folks
I'm
being
saying I'm old, Dave. I'm saying
you mean
I'm
like
old.
carbon 14 dating, like age, like cut you in half and count the rings. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought it was a lonely Thursday night.
No, it's not that lonely, trust me.
I mean, listen, some people are so lonely they go on to eHarmony and they get paired up with a couch and a bottle of lotion. That's a 3-way. Did you both die?
Sorry, I'm just rolling out of my chair right now.
Brendan Wilcox leads the way here at Dover Motor Speedway just ahead of Truth Hoke and Lee Campbell. I wonder if he's related to Glenn Campbell, and maybe he's a rhinestone cowboy, as Andrew Teft here now trails Brandon Sanfilippo in the 12 by about 0.3 of a second. And Sanfilippo suddenly has found an extra gear here in the 12 machine, as he just went from almost being overtaken by Andrew Teft to now leading him by more than a half second. Or is Andrew Teft starting to slow down here? Maybe he's cooked these tires a little early as we work lap number 50 now. You know, the idea that Alan had brought earlier was that perhaps this is just a 1 or a 2-stop race. What say you, Shane?
Honestly, I could see this being more of a 2-stop race because you'll want to have the tires towards the end of the runs. So I would say you're looking at probably first stop will be in the next, I want to say 5 to 10 laps, and then see if you can stretch it out to maybe lap 130 so you have the last 20 laps on a fresh set of stickers.
Well, I guess we're all going to have to kind of strap in and think about that and find out what happens next, because this is one of those leagues where we don't see a lot of cautions, so there may not be a whole lot of opportunities to come down under caution. That being said, talk about the entry to pit road here, because it is, for lack of a better term, one of the worst in NASCAR.
Oh, you're not wrong. Matt Kenseth found that out in 2004 when he tried to come off the bank and ended up eating some tractor tires. So it's one of the toughest ones, bar none, on the circuit. I mean, I'd rank it up there with Darlington. I'd rank it up there with some of the short tracks. It is almost impossible to get on here clean. So you really got to think ahead to try to get on pit road here at Dover.
Yeah, the transition itself alone as we go on board here with the 98. We're going to see where the entry is to pit road. It's coming up here on the left-hand side. the transition from the racing surface onto the asphalt is enough to give you whiplash. There's the entrance. If you don't have that thing down, all but at half speed coming toward the entry to pit road, you're going to miss it.
Yeah, and the problem is the moment you get on the brakes, the car washes up the track, so you really got to strategize your entrance onto pit road at this track. So it is legitimately probably one of the top 5 toughest pit roads. So you really got to be able to get the car checked up really quick to get down onto pit road, because it's only, I think, 35 mile an hour pit road speed. So you really got to be able to slow yourself down quick.
Nearly just had a 3-wide situation here with the double nickel of Truth Hoke, and now Brandon Honeycutt and the 14 of Lee Campbell get themselves all sorted out. So now Lee Campbell moves into 3rd position. He would be our highest running playoff eligible driver right now in the 14. As 2 non-playoff drivers lead the way here in Brendan Wilcox and Brandon Sanfilippo. As Brendan and Brandon go at it here, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, for making us a part of your evening. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, we've got a lot of excitement coming up. I know that SNN is going to be coming back on Sunday night, sans yours truly, as I will be on assignment down in Dixie. So, folks, if you tune in on Sunday night looking for me, you're not going to find me.
Hey, we'll play like Where's Waldo?
There you go. I'll be giving hints from somewhere down south.
Are you gonna actually cross the Mason-Dixon line?
Yes. I will. That will be the initial clue of where's Dave on Sunday night.
That'll be a fun game.
I think we just came up with something different for Sim Racing Media.
Where's Dave?
Oh, dear God, it's going to be one of those nights tonight.
It might be. I mean, here's the thing.
I poked my head in on a fun day.
Now, if you listen, I'll tell you what. Talk about fun. Alan and I hung out for 6 straight hours on Saturday, and then took a couple hours of a nap and worked another 2.5 together.
True.
Yeah, you guys put in a marathon. I caught bits and pieces. You guys put in a damn marathon.
Do you realize that that's the only marathon Alan and I are qualified to be in? The one where you don't leave a chair?
Hey, I'm a pro at holding things down.
Yeah, it's the ups I can't get along with. Walk up, sit up, stand up. No, I'm better at sit down, fall down.
I get to a certain point in gravity just kind of takes over.
A little bit. Green flag pit stops are underway, guys, as Marshall Harris has come down pit road. Truth Hoke has come down pit road. Looks like Shay Cox and Alex Teft came down pit road, as well as Bill Skinner. Skinner! Paul Shaw, Chris Blasi, Dennis Kane, and James Malloy, of course, James Malloy decided to put it on the hauler. The question becomes, these 7 cars up here on the lead lap, when do they come down and how far do they want to stretch this? As all of a sudden on fresh tires, Truth Hoke looking to make it back onto the lead lap the good old-fashioned way.
He's having a really good run here in that double nickel. And he teased the paint with yours truly taking a nap in his chair.
I don't see him as having done that tonight.
You know, Alan, I'm used to seeing my own mug on a race car. I was in a league a handful of years ago, and somebody showed up at Daytona in the 87 cars with my mug on their car, and I said, in 2 weeks I want to drive that thing. So I'm used to seeing my own face on a car.
Colonel Kirby Wainscott here from Sparta, Kentucky, and that finger looking good, number 10. And 2 weeks ago, Dave, I had the bright idea of painting up my Xfinity car with Chick-fil-A all over it.
Eat more chicken. Don't look now, folks, but now all 3 of the drivers in the top 3 are non-playoff eligible drivers at the moment.
A lot of guys playing spoiler.
Yeah, the biggest way they're playing spoiler is staying out, because these guys are still giving up about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds a lap compared to those on fresh tires. I don't see them stretching as much past lap 70, lap 75 at the absolute latest. So we'd have to wait and see. But I called it early with these guys coming in lap 60 for most of the playoffs, so we're going to see a lot of two-stop strategy. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of two-stop strategy with this one.
Brandon Wilcox comes down pit road. We're going to ride on board with him. He cedes the lead on over to Brandon Sanfilippo. So it's Brandon and Brandon. Wow, a pair of Brandons and Brendan here in the 26. My God, that is. I smell burnt toast. I think it's a stroke. As Brendan Wilcox is going to have a long drive down pit road, as he was our pole sitter. So he's in box number 1, just behind the iRacing.com pace car. One of the things I'm really impressed with right now is I don't see a whole lot of these drivers getting bit by the cold tire bug.
No.
First off,
Go ahead.
First off, you sure you're not smelling bacon there, Dave? Second off, no, it seems like these tires are coming in.
Yeah, Garth, I definitely smell some type of pork product.
Yeah, these tires are definitely not being a problem to these guys, so they're definitely heating up relatively quick. So, it's good to see that because that's going to actually limit the amount of cautions because a lack of cold tires means more action for everybody else to enjoy.
I am going to have to find Wayne's World and show that movie to my 17-year-old.
Why? So you can talk about what landline telephones used to be? I'm fascinated. You know what? We the three of us grew up during an incredible time in American technology, really in world technology. We at one point in our lives, everybody still had rotary phones, and now we have phones in the back of our pocket that are more powerful than the computers we're sitting at.
True. I tell you what, though, my grandmother had a bowl full of Tootsie Rolls in her living room on the coffee table.
Where are you going with this?
Where am I going with it? Dude, Tootsie Rolls at your grandma's house? Oh, man.
I was thinking about the crystal glass bowl with those strawberry things with the weird goo inside of them.
No, she had those, too.
Or the peanut doorstops. Whoa! Wild and wonderful was the 12 car almost coming down into the 25 of Paul Shaw, as Shaw out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, here in the 25 now works to the inside of the 12. And I say Bethlehem, first of all, folks, here in Pennsylvania, that is called Bethlehem. The only time that we say the full name is at Christmas time for Bethlehem, and it turns out that you can't follow a star to get to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You just follow I-476 and I-78.
I love it. I love it.
These are the jokes, folks. Feel free to laugh at any time.
Like I said, I showed up on a very interesting night.
Dave is stone cold sober, but on muscle relaxers.
Oh, by God, Stone Cold showed up. By God!
Just saying.
Stone cold, stone cold, stone cold.
73 laps in the books here. We're approaching the halfway point. We want to thank everybody for tuning in here on YouTube.com, here on Sim Racing Media. You're watching the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series, brought to you right here on YouTube by the Premier Racing Setup Shop and Sim Racing Media. We want to thank all of you for tuning in. Of course, we are proud partners also with GUR Sports, and when that logo pops up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, make sure that you take a picture there of the QR code and navigate over to GUR Sports as we take a look here at Ed Jurgen, another driver who came down on lap number 36, so pretty early. It looks like he's going to try to make this a 3-stop race, as Andrew Teft now cycles to the lead with Lee Campbell and Curtis Ecker in tow.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. As it looks like Andrew Teft is chasing down Truth Hook to put him a lap down. There's only 5 cars on the lead lap right now.
Well, that'll change once these 5, well, at least once 4 of these cars come in for pit service. Lee Campbell doing it now. Truth Hoke came down on 56, so he would cycle to the race lead, but he's going to have to wait a while if Ed Jurgen is going to stay out much longer here in the 92. As Jurgen, he kind of looks like he's comfortable here in the 92 right now.
Yeah, he sort of does.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you got a comfortable car here at Dover, you're going to have a lot of success. But 5 cars on the lead lap, what is this, 1993?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. And the 6 car is leading the way, faster than you've ever seen out of the Roush stable.
About time.
Yeah, that sounds about right for Mark Martin.
You know
Mark
what? There was a
Martin.
long time where Mark Martin was probably one of the coolest drivers, just because he was one of the cleanest drivers. He wasn't out there taking people out, but still having success.
Oh, him and handsome Harry Gant, man. And I just carbon dated myself. Damn it.
You want to do it one more time? If you check out the Kenny Wallace show, Charlie Marlowe, who was working at Fox 2 here in St. Louis, got with Kenny Wallace. He quit doing television, got with Kenny Wallace, so let me build you a YouTube channel. So Kenny Wallace said, yeah, let's build a YouTube channel. So now they do the Kenny Wallace show, and they do the Kenny Wallace show with Rick Mast.
Now, see, that
Dude,
sounds
I
interesting.
remember when Kenny Wallace was driving the TIC car in the Busch series. Yes, I'm that old, and my memory's that good. I'm that old, and my memory's that good. Go figure.
Proud of you.
I remember when Rick Mast was on Hoosiers in '94.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, the old Tire Wars.
Dude, the second time Hoosier came around for the tire war. Let's not forget 1988, 1989.
You know, my dad watched Rusty Wallace. He went to 2 races that year. One was to the Bristol Night Race, and the other one was to Atlanta to see Rusty Wallace win the '89 championship.
Oh, dude, Bristol under the lights in the 80s and 90s, just the stand-up lighting. Oh, my God.
Ed Jurgen down pit road here. I don't want to interrupt you guys, but Ed Jurgen now coming down for pit service. That puts Truth Hoke, Brendan Wilcox, and Alex Teft up atop the pile. So we're starting to see some of these green flag pit stops cycle their way through, and that's going to leave just 6 drivers on the lead lap here on lap number 82. We're past the halfway point. I think this might be one of those early 90s kind of competitions.
Yeah, that really doesn't surprise me.
All they need now is take the concrete up, put asphalt on it.
If we were running Old Dover, we would. I think that would be fun. Let's run Old Dover on 87s for a night.
Now you're talking my language.
Better yet, how about we run Old Bristol in the 87s?
Sign me up.
Sign me up, too.
I'm not talking the old concrete version with the 36-degree banking. I'm talking the old pavement version.
Yeah, with the asphalt.
Yes, sir.
That is pavement.
That is pavement, yes. You understand the dirt world is pavement's for getting there and dirt's for racing.
What's the difference between macadam and asphalt?
Not
I have no idea.
It's tomato.
I'm going to look it up.
Probably the composition of it or what it's made with. I mean, there's probably some slight differences.
And you mentioned that too, because you can get different concrete in different parts of the country.
Yeah, just like you can get different types of clay for dirt racing.
Hey, look, I like a good dirt race, but I hate the red clay down there in the southeast.
Yeah, I'll take some good old Carolina red any day of the week for dirt tracking.
Go to Cherokee Speedway, the place your mama warned you about.
This is incredible. I'm finally.
What'd you find?
I found it. Macadam is now. This is direct from Google, and it's Google AI thanks to Gemini. Macadam is another name for asphalt, a type of road construction that uses a mixture of stones and binding materials to create paved paths for cars. The term macadam comes from John Loudon Macadam, a Scotsman who invented the modern paving surface.
Oh, so the term is Scottish, eh? Okay.
Yep. But basically, it's the exact same thing. Just another word.
Oh, go figure.
Google and my wife know everything.
Not going to go there. Going to leave that loaded gun right in the middle of the floor and walk away kindly. I don't want your wife to hate me before she meets me.
Yeah, that would be an interesting trip to Homestead.
Hi, I'm Dave. Whoa, hey, why am I suddenly punched in the mouth?
So here's the thing. We're stopping in East Tennessee for a long weekend, and we will unfortunately miss Homestead this year. But next year in 2025, wherever we go, and she's done said if we do our NASCAR retreat out in Vegas, she's buying airplane tickets herself.
I think we should go down to Salt Lake and party like it's 1955. Bring your wives. Whoops.
This is what you sign up for every week around here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Dave's here 3 nights a week.
Usually
sometimes
4.
more.
Yeah. I always like it when
Hell, I'd be around more too if my PC didn't crap the bed.
Well, you should just get the vinyl sheets. It's better. Alex Teft right now taking a quick wow. Look at Brendan Honeycutt. Brandon Honeycutt just blew the doors off of Alex Teft. We're going to go up here to the blimp cam and check that replay out because that was something cool. Let's take a look at it. Now watch Honeycutt. He's behind Teft, and it's like he just passed the 43 like he was standing still. I think the 43 just let him go.
Yeah, probably smart because the 43 is probably on older tires, and he doesn't want to use his stuff up, and he realizes Brandon has got a whole different strategy.
Oh, it's different, all right. It's different, Alice.
What are you going to do? Come after my little dog, too?
If I must.
That was Dorothy.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, Dorothy.
Yeah, well, I got to... Yeah, well, you're dealing with a big dog, so there you go.
I'm going to allow it.
Wolf.
9 cars have now worked their way back onto the lead lap. Oh, no, I lie. 7. Sorry. Still at 7. So 7 cars. 1 more has made it back onto the lead lap. That's Lee Campbell here in the 14 machine. He's trailed right now by Andrew Teft, Curtis Ecker, and Bill Skinner. As Brendan Wilcox leads the way here at Dover.
It's not often you see Teft, Andrew for that matter, a lap down.
No, he's usually a lot more consistent up front, so that just tells you, A, the pace of this race, and B, a lot of the strategy that's going on.
Well, you know why this thing's caution-free right now? Because I'm not in the field.
I was just going to say because nobody waved the yellow flag. I mean, that's fair. I mean, we literally went 5 laps without a single person changing positions.
And that's why I haven't gotten an angry text from Dave all night because I'm not in the field. Him yelling at me in text messaging going, pit now.
Yeah, I know that it just feels really good to you to see that P1 on your overlay while you're racing. I get it. But it's not worth it, pal. It's just not worth it. Not when you've got an angry bunch of hornets behind you.
No.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
It's not the truth.
You know, Alan messes with the hornet's nest so much that he's going to wind up like that Thomas J. kid from the movie My Girl.
Ouch!
That was sad. That movie was sad.
I thought it was a comedy. I thought that they were hiding his glasses on purpose. That's why Thomas J. couldn't see without his glasses.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
He went there.
Yes, he did.
I thought it was a great movie. I mean, realistically, you put Dan Aykroyd on a movie. I'm thinking I'm supposed to laugh.
I mean, that's the whole gist of it. Is Dan Aykroyd shows up at the comedy? Look at all of them he's been in.
I mean, you know what? Seeing Dan Aykroyd in My Girl is kind of like when Robin Williams did that creepy 1 hour photo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, though, I've been seeing a lot of Spaceballs clips on my phone. No, on my phone.
Curtis Ecker here, the last car in the lead lap, has worked his way in the Coke machine to 9th position. Bill Skinner would be the next to try to work his way back here onto the lead lap. As, of course, we've got 2 Coke machines, Curtis Ecker and Bill Skinner. Skinner copying on that test right there from Curtis Ecker. So right now, it would be Bill Skinner if we would get a caution to get back on the lead lap as the lucky dog.
Please stay green. So, if I'm at Dover, I'm going to walk up to the casino right about now and put it all on red.
Considering that, what, the red cars are back on the lead lap, or?
No, look. So when I go to the roulette table, I have a strategic way I play roulette, right? I can put it all on red, or I can put it on the first, second, third, 12.
Look.
You actually have a.
Go ahead. You're going where I'm going. You go ahead. You got this one.
You actually have a strategy period for gambling, let alone something like that?
Yeah.
I'll stick to poker.
I'm not fast enough for that one.
Do you know that the people who think that they have a strategy to win in a casino are also the ones that have to call the number 1-800-GAMBLER?
You know how long it's been since I've been to a casino?
Yeah, since the last time your wife took your purse. This is no word of
God
lie.
help her
I can only say this because I know that she's not watching tonight. When my ex-wife and I were down in Atlantic City, it was like, oh, here, here's our money to go gambling with. And I kind of lost mine. So I went over to the ATM and I whacked the ATM to spit more money out at me. And I didn't tell her. And I'm only admitting it now on YouTube because I know she's not watching. And I did this 3 separate times in order to get the money back that I originally started with and then put the money back in the bank. It was that day that I decided that I had a gambling problem and I should stay away from it.
Probably a good idea.
Well, 1-800 bets off.
And it was on the craps table.
See, I would lose at that one because I wouldn't know how to play it.
I wound up coming up $425.
Well, that's a bonus.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it made me feel a lot less guilty.
Right?
imagine being in a casino and then you look over to your left and Kenny Wallace is at the blackjack table being
Man,
Wow.
Kenny Wallace at a blackjack table? Are you serious?
He yelled, I was wearing a Billy Moyer hoodie. He yells out, Moyer.
Well, that's old Herm the Worm for you.
And, Kenny Wallace now representing the 6305 too.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's just how it's going to be with Kenny, but I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of gambling on this track here before this race is over, because I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of things changing before too much longer.
You're not wrong.
Brendan Wilcox's lead starting to shrink down here. We're just about 0.3 of a second between himself and Sanfilippo. What do you think Sanfilippo has to do to start drawing in here on Wilcox?
Capitalize on Wilcox diamonding these corners because his car is starting to fade away a little bit. Sanfilippo's been driving more towards the bottom of the track while Wilcox has been diamonding the corner, especially on the exits of 3 and 4. So all Sanfilippo's got to do is just keep that left front headlight clean, and I got a feeling he'll be getting there.
Now, take us
Right
through
now.
the strategy of diamonding a corner. Now, I know that that's something that they, of course, do on short tracks and, of course, dirt as well. Can you guys explain that to the fans, what diamonding a corner is?
So basically,
It's basically entering the corner up high, letting the car entering it low, letting the car drift up high a little bit to save the tire, and then cutting down again towards the exit of the corner to try to get a run off to keep the straightaway a little bit straighter. So you're trying to maximize speed while also saving a little bit of tire.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be who's got the tires that can last the longest. As we're here on lap number 112, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen, and Shane Lake as well. We want to thank all of you for tuning in, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Dover Motor Speedway, where right now Brandon Wilcox is leading this way as Brandon Wilcox now has a 1-second lead over Brandon Sanfilippo. There was a quick battle starting to rage here, and all of a sudden it seems like somebody just threw a bucket of water over top of it, Shane.
Yeah, definitely. And now we just have to sit back and relax and wait for these tires to start wearing out again.
Well, we've got about 38 laps this time by to see what's going to happen here. I mean, you know, Brendan Wilcox has led the way. Brandon Sanfilippo and Brandon Honeycutt. 3 Bs, my God. Brandon. It's like this is my brother Daryl, this is my other brother Daryl, and this is my brother Larry. Or Ed, and Eddie. Brandon Sanfilippo and Brandon Honeycutt, both of them coming down pit road right now. This will be the money stop for them as they head on down pit road, leaving Brendan Wilcox atop the pile. He last came in on lap number 65, so it looks like he's going to see if he can squeeze this in and make this a two-stop race. Wilcox leading the way with Lee Campbell, Andrew Teft, and Curtis Ecker in tow. 1, 2, 3, 4 they go as Sanfilippo and Honeycutt come down pit road. That leaves just those 4 drivers up there. We originally only had 7 cars left on the lead lap, and that number is dwindling, Shane. I have lost my partners both in the last 30 seconds.
No, I'm still here. I'm just kind of figuring out a couple of things. But yeah, 7 cars on the lead lap. Mid-90s racing at Dover.
Wilcox now getting around the 43 and the 12 of Brandon Sanfilippo as Sanfilippo's just coming back up to full speed. Now Wilcox hauls it here into turn number 4, and as he rolls out, we can see all of that weight transfer, and we've talked about that before. We're going to ride along with him on our rear-facing camera here, and we can see Brendan Wilcox. See, I'm going to bungle this all night. Watch this front suspension when he comes out of turn 4 as he gets a good rotation here in that upper groove, and now coming out of 4 and back onto the front stretch. Watch the way this car just slams down to the asphalt.
Yeah, that front suspension absorbed a lot of impact there, just the way this track is.
Brandon Honeycutt just laid down fast lap of the race at 23.84. The last fast lap was 23.87, so they're only beating one another time-wise by about 300th of a second. But, you know, here in the latter stage of this race, we've seen some of our conditions change just slightly as the track temperature has dropped down to 113 from 118, but that outdoor air temperature has gone up to 79 degrees. So conditions here on the racetrack in the sim are starting to be less than favorable, at least for grip on the racetrack, as that's really going to start to loosen things up.
Yeah, concrete has definitely been known to hold temperature more, so it's going to be one of those situations where they're going to be slipping and sliding a lot more as these tires wear out late in this run.
Wilcox now has 4 playoff-eligible drivers. They would be on the bubble. In fact, let's talk about that as well. After tonight, there's just one more race in the regular season before we head on to Auto Club Speedway for the beginning of the playoffs. Next week, we go to Homestead, Miami. Of course, that'll be my first race back here on the air, so I'll be with you for that as well. But 105 laps at Homestead, Miami next week in the finale of the regular season. And right now, as it stands, Matt Schlosser, who's not even in tonight's race, he would be the number 1 seed coming into the playoffs. Dennis Kane, Alex Teft, Diego Rodriguez, Andrew Teft, Kensley Smith, Lee Campbell, Kirby Wayne Scott, Curtis Ecker, and Brandon Zimmerman would be your top 10. Then those 11th to 12th spots would go to Paul Shaw and Truth Hoke. But right now, Brendan Wilcox with 4 starts on the season, this could be enough to leapfrog him into the playoffs because he will have that win under his belt if he's able to seal the deal here tonight in the first state.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go in this race. Anything is still possible, but that hot rod's really looking strong right now, especially this late.
Marshall Harris just laid fast time down at 23.81 seconds. It's blistering.
That's hauling it big time at Dover.
Somebody had to do it, and Marshall decided it was going to be him, as he's got the 21 car cranked up to crazy right now. I mean, he's definitely several laps off of the lead lap, but at the same time, he's not giving up, and he's not ready to back down tonight. As we want to thank our partners, Gurr Sports. Check out their QR code up here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And, of course, check out the Premier Racing Setup Shop online. And, of course, available for all of your setup needs, whether you're asphalt, dirt, short track, intermediate. And, of course, it's also designed for your skill. And for those of us that have day jobs, setup shops are just a safe haven to get a setup for an open race.
Yeah, it's very helpful for those of us that either have a day job or struggle trying to build a setup. Getting a setup shop to back you is huge.
I was a little bit of both. I could not build a setup. I could make some tweaks, but I couldn't build it from the ground up. And I had a day job, have a day job, which of course, makes me unable to just sit there and tinker with a setup. Brendan Wilcox leads this race, and now we see out of the corner of our eye the 25 of Paul Shaw out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, starting to look behind to try to get another lap back as Shaw right now down 4 cedes away 11th position to Ed Jurgen.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggling a little bit more, but I'm a little surprised to see our leader still out here. We've got about, 25 laps to go or so? When is he going to come in?
Well, your guess is literally as good as mine. I mean, right now, he's got 70 laps on those tires. Campbell's got 60 on his, 57 for Teft and Ecker, as those are the only 4 cars on the lead lap at this moment. That would cycle San Filippo, if all 4 of those cars came down, that would cycle San Filippo up to the race lead with Brandon Honeycutt. So there's a lot of questions that have yet to be answered tonight, with now the remaining laps starting to tick down near to that 20 to go mark.
If Wilcox stays out the rest of this race, that is a major one on these tires.
The interesting thing that I'm seeing here, especially as we look at the lap differential, check this out right here, folks. They're running darn near dead even. Wilcox and Campbell are. So, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's literally going to be anybody's race once they come back down pit road, as we will be at 21 to go next time by.
Dover is going to be producing a whale of a finish. I'm glad to strap in for this one right at the end here.
Brandon Honeycutt now trailing San Filippo by about a half second, and it doesn't seem like they're ready to get the hammer and tongs out, trying to save their equipment for later in the race, as now Bill Skinner here in the 9 machine, he's going to get himself up into 14th position. He's trailing Marshall Harris by about 0.3 of a second. This is a battle for position, and it's starting to get a little hot here. So, although that there are 4 cars on the lead lap, without a caution, we may not see anything crazy happen here until that caution flag will come out. And speaking of crazy, here comes Brendan Wilcox on those old tires, getting ready to come on down pit road and get service here on the 26 machine.
Yeah, I noticed he locked up the right front. He had to get everything possible to get on pit road.
Wilcox going to come down. We're sure that he's going to get 4 tires and a splash of fuel to get here to the end as we now cross the 20 to go mark. That plateau now coming into clear view as Lee Campbell came on lap number 75. Andrew Teft and Curtis Ecker each on 78. And Wilcox now getting that pit service done as we pop up the right side. We're going to get some Dr. Feelgoods underneath the car. We're going to get some Go Fast in the fuel cell and be back underway as we head out here and take a look at our new race leader, Lee Campbell, in the number 14 Mellow Yellow machine.
Yeah, here's the thing. Wilcox is going to have the advantage, though, because he's going to be able to pick up 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds on these older tires.
Yeah, 19 laps to go here for Campbell, and, at some point here, he's just going to have to come in. There's no 2 ways about it. There's not going to be much left in the tank, and that's going to cycle Brandon San Filippo up to the race lead when that moment comes.
Yeah, and my question is going to be is how much time is Wilcox going to have to try to catch these guys, because we're under 20 to go. I don't know if he's got enough time to get there.
$17 laps to go at Dover Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and Shane Lake with you here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth. We want to thank our partner, Premier Racing Setups, for coming along with us here on Sim Racing Media. And, of course, Gerb Sports. Check out that QR code when it ticks by here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Make sure that you head over to Premier Racing Setups for all of your setup needs, no matter what your skill level or your track discipline is. As Lee Campbell is using a lot of discipline, we can see him maybe considering the slowdown, as he almost seemed to test it coming through 1 and 2. So he's trying to figure out how he's going to safely make the transition onto the apron to enter pit road.
Yeah, with these older tires, it's going to be a big struggle, so it's good to test it while you can. Ooh, scraped the wall right there through 1 and 2.
Lee Campbell now starting to maybe, you know what he's doing? I think I just heard him do it. Let's go on board here with the 14.
I'm not surprised.
Yep, he is clutching the turns.
He's going to try to win this race on this fuel tank.
He's got a 4.2 second lead. He has almost a really good chance, but I'm watching Andrew Teft start to creep in on him.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work, this strategy.
Let's go on board with Andrew Teft and see if he's doing the same thing. Nope. Teft is not doing the same thing, and he's starting to creep in on Campbell now, as the gap is now down to 3.74 seconds.
Yeah, Teft is going to have a good 3/4 of a second or so the next couple of laps on Campbell, so yeah.
Andrew Teft running P2, Lee Campbell leading this race, and Brendan Wilcox coming out of pit road after his cycle lays down a 23.79 second lap. All of a sudden, he has decided to get down and dirty here, and Lee Campbell just reopened his lead over Andrew Teft now.
I think he noticed that Teft was closing in, so he decided to put the wick up a little bit and try to manage the gap a little more.
You know, folks, this is one of the things that makes a fixed setup race so unique, because as you're watching this race, you have to understand that everybody's chassis is set up the same. Tire pressures, the way the chassis is twisted, the way that, you know, all of the controls are set. The only thing that is different in each of these cars is creature comforts and drivers. So, you know, a driver that's trying to think ahead, like Lee Campbell, who just, you know, is basically trying to fight with that fish there as Sanfilippo is trying to reel him in. Lee Campbell keeps wriggling off the line, and Sanfilippo now on those fresh tires is closing in like a homing missile.
You brought up twisted chassis. The only thing I can think of is next year the Gen 4 car is coming to this service.
I can't wait. Oh, God, I can't wait. That offset cockeyed chassis as we now go all but 3 wide here as Truth Hoken the 55 has to let the 26 on by. The 26 now working his way back toward the lead lap, but Lee Campbell just 1.5 seconds ahead of Sanfilippo with 8 laps to go.
Tick-tock, the clock is running out on Sanfilippo. Can he finish this deal?
I think Sanfilippo has everything he needs right now in his quiver to get up here and take the lead away from Lee Campbell. And we're going to see it at about the 5 or 4 to go mark.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Look behind him.
Well, he's got to decide whether or not he wants to go for the win or hold off Honeycutt. He can hold off Honeycutt for only so long, and that's going to start to all but hand the lead, hand the victory over to Campbell, as we're now 7 laps to go and less than a second between Campbell and Sanfilippo.
I think Dover's about to give us a monster finish. I'm ready for it.
Lee Campbell leads this race now by just 0.2 of a second over top of Brandon Sanfilippo on the fresh tires. Now all of a sudden there's got to be beads of sweat rolling down the forehead of Lee Campbell as we work here with 5 to go. What did I tell you? 5 or 4 to go, and here it comes with Brandon Sanfilippo looking to the inside of Lee Campbell. Side by side they go, as all of a sudden the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt looks to put the right front fender right up against the 14 and make the pass here coming into turn number 3 with 5 to go.
Yeah, and that's all Sanfilippo needed was that little bit of a battle between those 2 cars. And now he's going to have himself about 0.2 of a second gap.
Let the sails out, young man, and make a run to victory lane here at Dover as Brandon Sanfilippo here in the 12 machine leads Brandon Honeycutt out of Elizabethton, Tennessee. And whoa! Holy Christmas, what a run the 13 got, nearly taking out Sanfilippo.
Oh, he gave Sanfilippo a scare. But I think he's also trying to make a move and try to get him set up because he just looked low again. We're not done with this battle.
Not one bit, as Brandon Sanfilippo leads this race now with just 3 laps to go. And as he comes into turns 3 and 4, we can see that he's got a rearview mirror full of Brandon Honeycutt. As they come out of turn number 4, they cross the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go.
Sanfilippo's going to do his best to block the bottom, but Honeycutt's going to try to get that outside line working a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be enough because we got 1.5 to go as Sanfilippo enters 3 and 4.
Brandon Sanfilippo follows Brandon Honeycutt now as they come out of turn 4 one final time. The white flag goes in the air. The popsicle sticks go down, and we're racing back to checkers. Brandon Honeycutt trying to find desperately his way around Sanfilippo, and Sanfilippo is having none of it, as all of a sudden they have to start to contend with the 55 car. And now the 12 is going to use the 55 as a pick. They go 3 wide here. The 55 gets out of the way. Brandon Sanfilippo comes out of turn 4 through the Geico restart zone, crosses the start-finish line, and captures the checkered flag here at Dover Motor Speedway.
Woo! What a finish. Sanfilippo used Truth Boat as a pick.
What a beautiful finish to that race. Finally, I got one right as Sanfilippo makes the pass with 5 to go. I told you it was going to be 5 or 4 to go when he was going to get around Lee Campbell. And Campbell, of course, running so low on fuel. I mean, first of all, he gets the Ironman Award of the night as he came down on lap 75 and hasn't come down since. And Brandon Sanfilippo is going to celebrate here on the front stretch for all these fans at Dover Motor Speedway.
I'm just enjoying this show because what a finish that was. Well, we don't need those tires anymore.
No, you can pretty much throw them right in the trash.
I'll give him the miles for dessert. All good.
Yeah, he'll probably like that. I've heard he likes that.
Pretty much.
As we're going to get a hold of our race winner, Brandon Sanfilippo. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. Hey, guys.
Hey, man, listen, great race tonight. Green from start to finish here at Dover Motor Speedway. First of all, that's a feat in and of itself. And then with 5 to go, you make the pass to take the lead away from Lee Campbell. How do you feel tonight as you start to cool down the engine?
Ooh, it was a roller coaster. Qualifying didn't go as planned, so started in the back, worked my way up, and then Honeycutt and I felt like we were in good position. We were going to pit a little bit ahead of Wilcox there to try to get some fresh tires because it was definitely tough to pass on the outside with worn tires. But both of us missed the pit, so we thought it was over. But I think Wilcox got a speedy penalty when he pit, so it put us right back in the game. And then we were able to get those guys saving fuel in those last laps. And then I knew I had to hold it on the bottom there those last few laps because Honeycutt, I think, saved tires better than I did at the end. So if I would have gave him that inside, I think it would have been over.
Well, you came as close as anybody did tonight, and obviously, getting yourself up here. I'm going to look here at our point standings and see how close you were because I feel like you're just about as close as it gets to the playoff cut line. And it looks like this may be enough to try to launch you into the playoffs. And, of course, we'll see that next week at the end of the race or at the beginning of the race at Homestead, Miami. Now, with Homestead coming up next in our regular season finale, what are you thinking about as we get ready to head down to the Sunshine State?
I just need to start getting top 5s, top 10s. I've had some just terrible luck in this league so far. I think this was my only top 10, just either getting involved in wrecks and never finishing half the races. So it just felt good to get a groove going. I was, I think, 16 points out of the last playoff spot. So this definitely secures me a playoff spot with a win. So it feels good. Just looking forward to keeping the momentum going.
All right, Brandon. Well, listen, congratulations on the win tonight, punching your ticket to the playoffs in this season. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done there on the 12 team?
All my friends and family who watch every week. I appreciate you guys. Big shout out to you. Driving Extreme Incorporated, our race team, just makes it that much more fun racing together, talking, strategizing. Andrew Teff for putting on the league, you guys for putting on a great show, great broadcast, and just all the drivers. It was one heck of a clean race, fun race tonight. Not a single yellow, so it was fun to see. Fun to race.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the win. Good luck in the playoffs in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you next week at Homestead, Miami. That the voice of Brandon Sanfilippo. It looks like Brandon Honeycutt took off, so Shane, I believe that you're down there right now with Alex Teff, driver the number 43.
Yeah, I'm sitting down here on pit road with the 43 of Alex Teff. And Alex, strong one to finish third, buddy. How was the track conditions and how were your tires through this race?
My tires were absolutely terrible. I was burning off the right front really bad about halfway through the run each time. But I was just trying to do my best to back up the corner real early and just keep the wheel as straight as possible. But it didn't really go well. I split the race into thirds, and that seemed to be the most beneficial thing to me. I also didn't realize I was passing Lee for position at the line. So that was a gift.
Yeah, it seemed like Miles gave you a nice surprise at the end there. What are your thoughts next week going into Homestead?
Homestead? Hopefully, I can't say I've been historically good there, but Nextgen and mile and a halves have been my bread and butter in this series, so hopefully I can rip the high line and just, keep the thing up front.
Yeah, for sure, man. Before we let you go, who helps you get it done on that 43 car this time around?
No, definitely want to thank you guys over at Sim Racing Media for putting on these broadcasts all the time. Thank the league, Races Elite. Then I want to thank the servicemen and women out there, who protect us. Then thank my friends who watch all the time and my fiance.
All right, man. We'll celebrate this podium. We'll see you next week at Homestead.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Dave, back up to you in the booth.
Well, Shane, another one in the books here in the Racers Elite Cup Series. And, of course, I don't see Brandon Honeycutt, so we won't have a chance to speak with him tonight. However, we did get a chance to talk to our race winner, Brandon Sanfilippo, who brought home the checkered flag tonight for the Drivers Extreme Inc. Driving Extreme Inc. See, I can get it all out. And, of course, we want to thank our partner over at Premier Racing Setups and, of course, the sponsor here for the Racers Elite Cup Series, GUR Sports. Make sure to check out that QR code in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Before we get out of here one final time, let's take a look at the results tonight for these 20 drivers that decided to start here at the Monster Mile. Brandon Sanfilippo and Brandon Honeycutt brings home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium by Brandon Honeycutt and Alex Teff. Lee Campbell and Kirby Wainscott round out the top five, while Curtis Ecker and Andrew Teff finish 6th and 7th. 8th goes to Truth Hoke, while Brendan Wilcox comes home in 9th, and Ed Jurgen in 10th, rounding out your top 10. Paul Shaw out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, finishes in 11th, while Troy Thomas comes home in 12th. Marshall Harris comes home in 13th, while 14th goes to William Skinner. Shay Cox and Aaron Marquis finish in 15th and 16th, with Chris Blasey and Dennis Kane in 17th and 18th. And rounding out the field of drivers who took the green flag tonight is James Malloy here in the number 84. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Shane Lake, my work mistress, and of course our chief cook and bottle washer on the back end, Alan Bergen, who is just an absolute workhorse here at Sim Racing Media. I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight with us. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.